So we're trying to figure out cross-section number 2. We've got, of course, all of our rules or principles to help us figure this out, trying to number up 1 through 8. 1 being the oldest, 8 being the youngest. So first thing we like to do is just kind of take a little survey of everything. We definitely have some horizontal sedimentary layers found here. And we also have a couple events happening, right? I see my erosional lines. So we should be highlighting those, label them up. Got 2 instances of erosion here. And I also have some vertical layers, which I haven't seen yet in my cross sections. These, of course, are a little bit different. These we're going to notice are igneous rocks. So that's important to note when we start to use our rock key. Reminder, when you're looking at that rock key, you're using it to match up what you're seeing in the picture, whether it's a rock type over here or one of our events: erosion, folding, faulting, and tilting. So that's why we like to mark those events first, because those also get a number in our history. So thinking about where to start, we know our older rocks are typically found at the bottom. So I'm looking for older rocks down here. This is going to be my number 1. And I really have 3 options for my older rocks. It could be this layer found at the bottom. My igneous layers are also touching the bottom. So the question is, which one of those is really going to be our number 1? Well, if we think about what these igneous rocks are, it's lava or magma pushing through these other layers. And because they're pushing through these layers, I know any horizontal layer that they push through have to exist first. So that gives me a pretty good clue, because of my principle of cross-cutting, that my number 1 is going to be this brick layer. So when I look at my rock key for event 1, I find those bricks, and I just simply read left to write that statement. So there's number 1. Next here, I've got to figure out what's my 2. Well, again, my intrusions cut through layers that have to exist. So this one, because it cuts through everything, I know had to come later. This one here only cuts through my first 2 layers. So I'm able to number these first, 1 and 2, pretty easily. Now in terms of 3, 4, 5, I've got a couple things to think about. So I can have my igneous, I can have my erosion, I can have my conglomerate up here. 3, 4, 5. Well, what has to be first? I know erosion happens when that layer is the surface. So I know this erosion definitely has to come before my conglomerate layer. So this one has to be my number 5. So that means I'm thinking about igneous and erosion. Well, when I look at these two, remember, erosion's job is to take dirt, sediment away. It's to pick it up and move it and kind of even things out. That's why we see this erosional line happen. So when I think about those as 3 and 4, I'm looking carefully at this igneous. Is it eroded or not? Is it impacted by that erosion, or did it have to come after? So what I notice is that it is eroded on top there. So that's cluing me in. My igneous has to be 3, and my erosion has to be 4. So I've got 3, 4, 5 happening on my picture. And then finally, again, I'm trying to get to number 8. So 6, 7, 8. Again, I've got 3 things to think about. My layer, my erosion, and my intrusion here, volcano, actually come into the surface. So again, erosion can only happen when that layer is on the surface. So I know this layer has to come before my erosion, and kind of thinking about the pizza, this volcano is sitting on top of this layer. So again, it's on top, the underneath had to be first. So this has got to be my number 6. I can't write for some reason. So my sandstone layer has to be number 6, followed by either my erosion or my, sorry, I had to restart. My erosion or my volcano. There we go. Number 6. No. Okay. So between my erosion and my volcano, again, erosion's job is to even things out. I notice my volcano here is still pretty perfect and pointy. It has not been eroded. So again, that gives me a clue. It had to come after that erosion. So when I finish my last 2 numbers, I've got 7 here, 8 here, good to go. Using your history then, your numbers should match up to your history. So when I check my history out, that bricks image is going to be my limestone, so I use my sentence there. My dashes, that's my shale, so I use my sentence here. Remember, erosion is looking down here at weathering and unconformities. My igneous rocks, same pattern. I find the pattern, I move left to right with my sentence. I do have to now include what layers they impact. So for number 8 here, I would list out all the layers that it cuts into. I don't want to say all layers. I want to use the numbers. Same thing here. I want to list out the layers it cuts into, only the ones it touches. As always, send me a message if you're feeling